4.8 complex numbers. The most important thing to remember with this, square root of negative 1 equals, square root of negative 1 equals I. It's going to cause problems. Let's do this. So square root of negative 1 equals I. What you also need to remember is that I squared equals negative 1. So the line I would say for this is if math isn't hard enough, we just start making crap up, right? Just start making some imaginary numbers, like mix it up a little. The reason they came up with this is that they couldn't deal with negative square roots, so using I helped them figure out how to deal with negative square roots. You know, some of you say, when are we ever going to use this? There's no practical application for I, okay? It's just how to deal with negative square roots that you can solve the rest of a problem in dealing using the I instead. Yeah, because it's in the curriculum. I must teach you, and they'll be on SAT as well. So that's why you're learning it for your mind. Okay? So square root of negative 18, if I look at my x and x squared list, I'm looking at the x squared list and determining which is the biggest number that I can divide into 18 and evenly take the square root. What's the biggest number over here? Biggest one that divides into 18 from the x squared list. That's not a hard question. 4, really? 81 divides into 18. Good job. No. 9. 9. Okay? So square root of 9, square root of negative 1, and square root of 2. What's the square root of 9? Square root of 9 is 3. What's the square root of negative 1? Right up there. Square root of negative 1 is I, and you can't evenly take the square root of 2, so you leave it alone. So we're going to simplify these square roots at the beginning of the lesson and then move on from there. With the complex numbers, we're going to add, subtract, multiply, and divide them. Next one, coming up. I will. We're going to do like 6 of these. So, thank you. Okay, here's another, square root of negative 12. It's a good look, Mia. He's just looking at. I got you. Thank you. Have a good one. Later. Square root of negative 12. What's the biggest factor of 12 that I can evenly square root? Ryan? 6 isn't in my list over here. 4. Right? So 4 is the one. I always like to write the one I can evenly square root first. I write the negative square root of negative 1 second, and then the one I can't square root last. So what's the answer? 2I root 3. 2 square root of 4 is 2. Square root of negative 1 is I. And you can't evenly square root 3. That's all you do. Okay, here's another. Write the square root of negative 48 twice, just because I'm going to show you how to do it the easy way and then show you how to do it a little bit where it's harder. Because you too might make the mistake I'm going to make on the second one, and it'll help you figure out what to do. So what is the biggest factor of 48 from my x squared list that I can divide into 48? 16. Good. So we do square root of 16. Square root of negative 1 and square root of 3. So what's the square root of 16? 16 times 3 is 48. Right? So let's say you're not good at coming up with the list of factors. Then you can still do the 48 divided by x thing in the graphing calculator. So 48 divided by x, look at the list of factors, and I'm looking over here on this y1 side to find the biggest number I can evenly square root. So that's why I got 16 and 3. All right, so if you're not good at coming up with that list of factors, use that graphing calculator. It'll help you out a ton. So we get 4i square root 3. See ya. So I'm going to show you, because you don't always pick the correct one at first. So if that happens, you can still get the right answer. It just costs you some more steps. So let's say I did 4 square root of negative 1 and 12. Okay, so here I would get 2i square root 12. But then I can still break apart square root of 12 into what? 4 and 3. So I get 2i times square root of 4 times square root of 3. Remember, too, that in between here, if there's no operation shown, it's got to be multiplication. So we're going to multiply these things in between. So we end up with 2 times I times 2 times square root of 3. Again, these are multiplication in between. So you end up with 4i root 3. So even if you pick the wrong number at first, you can still get to the correct answer. All right? Because that might happen to you. And hopefully you get to this point and realize you can still further break down the square root of 12. And then you just got to remember to multiply in between. That's all. Okay, whiteboard coming up. You're going to do this next one on your whiteboard. Hold it up once you have the correct answer. I'll tell you yes or no. Ready, set, go. Some of you could probably do it without even showing any work and just be like, bam, got it. If you can do that, more power to you. Show it. Good. Good, good. You're always going to have that square root of negative 1, right? Good job. Died. It's all good. Check it. Yeah, here you go. Good, good, good. Good, 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 good. Good, 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 good. 3 square root of 9 is 3. Good. Good, 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 good. You got it. So good. I hear people helping one another as they're like, I don't know what the hell to do. Help one another. That's why you're in these table groups. That's a good thing. Good job. Yeah. Okay, biggest factor of 27 you can evenly square root is 9. So we break this one apart into square root of 9, square root of negative 1, and then square root of 3. So it becomes 3i square root 3. All right? No big deal. So it's easy at first, right? Always easy at first. Now, in your notes, you're going to write A and B down, please. So we're going to start adding and subtracting these. When you're adding, you're really just combining like terms. If you could cap your marker in between whiteboard problems too, that helps them not dry out so much. That's excellent. Thank you. So what you do with these addition ones is you're combining like terms, as I said. I'll give you a chance to write it down, and then we'll talk about it. So if I combine real part with real part, what do I get? 0. So 4 minus 4 is 0. And then I have negative 3i plus 3i, which is 0. So your answer is 0. Okay? My third period's like, well, then why do we do it? You can get 0. It's a valid answer, right? You still did some math, got an answer. It's all good. When you have this subtraction, I like to think of that minus as a negative 1 and distribute the negative 1 into the second parenthesis. So I get 5 minus 3i plus 2 minus 4i. So the simple, easiest kind of mistake that students make is they just ignore the fact that there's a plus here and multiply them instead. So just pay attention if it's plus or minus so you don't screw that up, okay? So we're combining real with real, 5 plus 2, and negative 3i minus 4i. So what do I get? 7 minus 7i. So again, on your quiz, block day next week, that should seem easy, right? You should, no problem, get that one correct. So quiz next block day, and then test the following Tuesday. And then final review, block day Friday, and then finals begin, like bam, bam. Week and a half, finals begin. You should have those big eyes, yeah. It's like the oh shit moment, right? Yeah.
Is all the late homework due this Monday?
All the late homework is due next Monday. Monday the 10th, I think it is. Is that the 10th? Yeah, okay. Monday, December 10th. That way you get a weekend to crank some stuff out if you need. Okay? I know people appreciate the weekend, yeah. Some teachers do it on Friday. I'm like, why do you do it on Friday? Give them a weekend, right? That's better. Okay, now we're multiplying. Multiply. So do they need that parenthesis around that first 3i? Does that make anybody else angry that they put the parentheses around that? Because you don't need it at all. If it makes you angry like it does me, you're abnormal like me, congratulations. So I just think of it like that. To me, that looks more normal. You've seen problems like that, despite the I. And then we're just going to distribute in. Thing you have to remember is that I squared equals negative 1. Again, square root of negative 1 equals I. I always make the I cursive because then you can distinguish it between a 1 and an I. So 3i times negative 15 is negative 15i. And 3i times 2i is positive 6i squared. But what's I squared equal? Negative 1. So that just makes this negative 6 right here. Okay? So you get negative 15i minus 6. So that's a half point off right there because we need to write it in standard form. I'm just teaching it to you now. You don't know what standard form is yet. Standard form is the real number first, then the imaginary number. So you just have to write it as negative 6 minus 15i. Again, if you write it like that, that's minus 1/2. Write it like this, full credit. So when you have I squared, all it does is change the sign in front of the number. That's it. Because I'm going to have you multiply something like this in your head shortly here, so you can do it. But I want to give you another one of this type to make sure you can do it. So give me 1 second. Real number, then imaginary. Yeah. So let's do okay, do that one on your whiteboard. Remember, real number first, then imaginary. Good. 18, did you have an I? You had them out of order. Right? Good, 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 good. Positive 24 though, Phil? Good, good. 18, but yeah. 6 times 4. You multiplied wrong, that's all. Don't fix it, you're good. Yeah, good job. You should have 24 as the first. Oh, did you just erase it by accident? Yeah, you're good, Red. Yes. 24 comes first. Good. Good, good, good. Positive 24. Right, because I squared switches at negative. Okay. Good job. Good job. Good job. Minus 18i. Right, because negative 6 times 3. Negative. Okay, good. Do you get it, Case? Okay. Will, did you get it? A little bit. Try that one. Little mind bender. Positive. It should be plus 24. 24 minus 18i. Because I squared is switches a sign. What's 3 squared? Use this seconds ago. Yeah. Yes. 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 No. Yes. 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 Zoe. Yes. No. Yes. 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 Help one another if you don't get it, please. Help one another. Do you get it? What's 3 times 3? We'll do it right now. What's 3 times 3? 9. What's I times I? Yeah, you do. I squared. Just be quiet. I times I is I squared. And then I squared equals negative 1. Okay, so this means 9 times negative 1, which is just negative 9. Okay, so anytime you end up with the I squared, just switch the sign in front. Okay, Peter? Yeah. All right, that's good. Okay, let's do... You should have written that B one down already. We're going to do the box method of foiling. Yeah, this is notes. Back to notes. Yeah, Andre? You can. I just find students make more mistakes doing the regular FOIL method, but if you like that, it works better for you, that's totally fine. The reason I like the box method is because you get 4 different things in the box, which gives me opportunity to give you more partial credit. When you do the box method, you multiply on the outside, combine like terms on the inside. So if you don't know that, that's a good thing to write down. So multiply inside and combine like terms outside. So what do I get in the upper left? Negative 4. Upper right? Negative 3i. Lower left? Negative 8i. Lower right, which is 6. Okay, so I'll show that little intermediate step. Negative 6i squared. Remember, I squared just switches a sign in front, so the negative 6 becomes positive 6. Then I'm going to combine like terms. So real with real, imaginary with imaginary. Remember, real has to come first. So when we FOIL this thing, we get 2 minus 11i. 2 minus 11i. So important to remember the whole multiply inside, combine like terms outside. I'm going to have you try one of these on the whiteboard. Okay, try that one on the whiteboard, please. And if you get confused along the way, just ask. What's up, brother? Last one on the left. No. Should have good. Close. You just added the I part wrong. Yeah. Figure it out. You got it. Good job. Don't write plus minus, so I'll take half point off. Just write minus. Good job. Good job. Yeah. Yes. Good. A this time. There you go. You added the I's wrong. Try to add them again. If you have negative 18 and negative 6, it can't be smaller than negative 18, right? Good job. Good job. Good job. Good job. So I see like 4, 5, 6 maybe people foiling. It's totally fine to foil. You just forgot the I, then you're good. You don't have an I. There you go. Yes. Yes. Add them up now. Combine like terms. Minus 23I and then you're good. Third time's the charm, right? Yeah, you're good. Good now. Nice work. Should be minus. You multiplied these two wrong. This times this. What's that? 3I times... Oh, wait. No. That should just be negative 5. That's all. Good job. Good job. 9. So right here, this is I squared, which makes that negative 15. So then negative 15 plus 6. But this should be, that was negative 15I squared, which makes it positive 15. And this is negative 6. 1 times negative 6, negative 6. Okay. Good. Trade you. All right, I'll show you up here. So what's upper right? Upper right? Negative 5I. Lower left? Negative 18I. Lower right? Negative 15I squared, which makes it positive 15. So 15 minus 6 is 9, and negative 18 minus 5I is negative 23I. So as you looked at this, a lot of people made little tiny mistakes, so you got to be careful with your signs in this kind of stuff. Okay, I want you to do A. We already did B, so don't do B. But do A on the whiteboards. Somebody should be done already. A on the whiteboards. Come on. Faster, faster. Good, good. Oh. Andre missed it. Phil got it. Good. I squared, right? So that does what to the sign? Good, 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 good. Negative. Good, good. Good, good, good. No I after you do the square deal. Yeah, you fix it too. Yes, good timing. Yes, yes, yeah. I squared makes it negative 1, right? So it's negative. The answer is negative. Yes, 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 yes. Good job, Shayna. Yes, Ethan. All right, good, good. So 7I times 7 times 3 is 21. I times I is I squared. So that becomes 21 times negative 1, which equals negative 21. Okay, box the one on the end. Or foil, whatever your preference is. The box? Yeah. So it doesn't matter. You can put either one on top. I just put the first one on top. And then the second one on the side. Just like that. Yeah, you're on the right track. Part of it does cancel out like that, but yeah, keep going with it. Because if you think right here, Will, multiplying these two, you're not going to end up with 0, right? You're thinking the plus minus part of it. Good job. You got it, Phil. Yes. No. What? Can you hold it up and let me see it? Let me see if I can figure out where you went wrong. Oh, you got it? Okay, good job. You just added wrong. 16 and 25. 25 and 6 is 31. There you go. Yeah. Good job, good job. You just added wrong, Shayna. Good job. So how did you end up with -9 plus 20i out of that? Good. You don't know what you did wrong? Yeah, I'll help you. You're making some little tiny mistake is all.
So those two cancel.
Yep. And that's positive 16, that's why. That's all it is, yeah. Okay, good job. Let me see. So you have one of the 20i should be positive. Yeah, good job. Good job. There you go. All right. Yes. Excellent. Okay, what do I get for upper left? Upper left, 16. Upper right, what do I get? -20i. Lower left, positive 20i. Lower right, -25i squared. Excellent. Positive 25. So the diagonal with the 20 and -20i cancels. 16 plus 25 is 41. So when you, actually we'll show you on the next. So pay attention first that the only difference between these is there's a plus and a minus in the middle of each parenthesis, 1 plus, 1 minus. What happens when you do that is this diagonal will always cancel and you end up with just a whole number answer. Okay? We're going to use that when we do multiplication with these complex numbers. It's called multiplying by the conjugate. So I'm going to do B first, but write A and B down, and I'm going to do B first because it makes my point better. So take a sec, write this down, please. Okay, I'm going to multiply by something called the conjugate. When you multiply by the conjugate, you just change the sign in the middle of the parenthesis. That's it. So for the conjugate, you want to change the sign in the middle of the denominator. I'm going to add that. Middle of the denominator. So when I multiply this thing, what I'm going to multiply by? If I change the sign in the middle of the denominator, it's just 1 plus 4i. So you're not allowed to have a square root in the denominator. Just general rule in math, you have to do what's called rationalize the denominator. And when we multiply by this conjugate here, that will cancel out all the i's in the denominator. Okay? So as I do this problem here, I'm going to do numerator first and do the box. So here's a question. Can anyone multiply the denominator in their head? Because you can definitely multiply it in your head. I already did it. I'm a math teacher, so yeah, I should be able to do it, right? But You can think it in your head, right? Because the outside and inside with FOIL is going to cancel. So all you have to do is multiply first term times first term. So 1 times 1 is, and negative 4i times positive 4i is negative 16i squared, which is positive 16. So when I multiply the denominators together, what do I get? 1 plus 16? 17. So if you can multiply those in your head, and we'll do a couple more so you can kind of get used to that process, just makes your life a little bit easier because you take that SAT coming up in April, and speed, timing, speed is of the essence. So if you can do things like multiply these two in your head, it makes the test go faster, right? And you have more time for the harder problems. But first we're going to do the numerator here. So we're going to do 2 plus 3i times 1 plus 4i. So 2 plus 3i times 1 plus 4i. And then I'll show you the same thing with the denominator, doing the box. Again, you showing me this work organized on your quiz and test will help me to give you partial credit. So you definitely want to try to do this. 1 minus 4i and 1 plus 4i. Okay, what do I get for upper left on the numerator? Upper right, 3i. Lower left, 8i. Lower right, 12i squared, which is negative 12. So it makes it easy once you get that I squared, just switch the sign of the number in front. And then here, 2 minus 12 is negative 10. And 8i plus 3i is positive 11i. So that's what I get for the numerator. Denominator we already talked about, so I get 1, negative 4i, positive 4i, and negative 16i squared, or positive 16. And then when you multiply by the conjugate, the diagonal lower left to upper right always cancels. 1 plus 16 is 17. So the way I want you to write the final answer, and then I'll take your question, Aaron, is, so I have to write it like that. I cannot write it like this. I think the book will actually write it like this, and I would take a half point off the book. The reason I would take a half point off the book is because you have to have the real part first, imaginary part second, for it to be in standard form. And I will love taking off that half point on Julius. Yeah, that'll make you so sad. No, just kidding. But yeah, so write it as two separate fractions, real part first, imaginary part second. Okay? So I want to see if you guys can multiply a couple more of these. See if anyone can multiply it in their head. Yeah, whiteboard. I just want to see the answer. If you need to do the box to help you to understand, that's fine. But many of you will be able to do that in your head. Aaron, question. Sorry, I forgot.
How did you end up with negative 10 and not negative 12?
Right here we have negative 12 plus 2. That's why. Okay. If if the middle of the board's is 0, I'm at positive 2, and I go backwards 12. Right, I'm into negative numbers now because I'm subtracting 12. You got it? Okay. Let me do it in my head real quick. Yes, 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 yes. Yes. No. You just added wrong in your head, I think. 4 plus 9 is 13. Yes. Yes. Good. Yes. Did you hit yourself in the head with your whiteboard? What, math class injury? Yes, yes, yes. Gotta love the old math class injury. All right, so all I have to do, look, Will, 2 times 2? 3 times 3? So negative 3 times positive 3, negative 9 I squared, which is 9. So then 4 plus 9? Bam, done. Okay? Yeah. If you can multiply this in your head, you don't have to do the box method for that portion. You're going to have to do it for this because there's too much going on. But for the bottom, when you're multiplying by the conjugate, you're good right here. You don't have to do the whole box deal. All right, that's all I got. You got homework right there. It's on the board, 9 through 31. Pay attention to the accept. Don't do 13, 15, 17, okay? If you can make a pile of your markers and rags and whiteboards in the middle, I'll come around and collect them eventually here.